why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you. My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did, and that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize, and I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that moment. So I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I want to apologize to Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship. Tony Rock was my man. And this is probably irreparable.
Stopping it there, and welcome to Mika Reacts and Reviews. We're reacting to things on the internet. And if you haven't heard, Will Smith came out and officially apologized to multiple people, but of course more specifically to Chris Rock, because that was the victim in the situation. And so I've already seen this, and I've seen a few other reactors sort of react to this, but I think I have a different take, so stay tuned. I think we've all been there, when you're in the heat of the moment, when you're really emotional. We all know when you're really heightened emotionally, you're not rational. And so it's not okay, and it doesn't make it right, but sometimes you just say things you don't mean. You're not, really considering the consequences of your action. And then you take a step back in 2020, you realize, like, fuck, I was a bitch. I shouldn't have done that. And you're regretful, you're remorseful, and at the moment you're shameful of your actions, especially when they really go against your own morals, your values, and your principles, and especially when you think you might have burnt a bridge to friendships or even a community. Like, this didn't just affect his friendship or his association with Chris Rock, but it also affected his friendship with his brother and his mom and stuff like that. And so, being that Will Smith is still human, and we can all relate to that, I think that what he's doing is right, and I think that we can all understand where he's coming from, and I think there is room for forgiveness, but honestly, the person who has to forgive him is Chris Rock. Now, and when it comes to forgiveness, that doesn't mean you have to be friends with that person anymore, associate with that person anymore, or even allow that person back into your life. That is not what forgiveness means. Forgiveness is you personally letting that go, so that no longer affects you emotionally or psychologically, mentally, or spiritually, so it does no longer live in your head rent-free. Forgiveness is more for you personally than the person who really did you wrong, but it's still up to Chris Rock. And when it comes to his brother, yeah, like, he's not gonna fuck with you because that was his brother. And a lot of people pointed out that the smack wasn't just a cross of boundaries when it comes to physical boundaries or even friendship, a sign of disrespect, but it was emasculating. You slapped him on national television that went internationally, and he's never going to be able to live this down, not necessarily in a shameful way, but this will be in his bookmark of history, of historical facts about Chris Rock, and also Will Smith, but Will Smith did this to himself. So of course it's going to be harder for Will Smith to be like, yeah, sure, it's cool, we're friends again, and his brother and his mom and everyone else that was associated with Chris Rock. So everyone has a right to no longer want to associate with Will Smith because, again, it was beyond just a smack. But I still think for Chris Rock's own sake, for his own healing and moving on, forgiveness is important for himself, not necessarily for Will Smith. Will Smith has to forgive himself for what he did, but ultimately for Will Smith to be able to heal and go beyond this. But anyway, let's continue.
I spent the last 3 months replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities of what happened in that moment. And I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now, but I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment. There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way to handle a feeling of disrespect or insults. After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No. It's like, I made a choice on my own, from my own experiences, from my history with Chris. Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe.
So even if Jada did whisper into Will Smith's ear and say, hey, take care of that for me, Will Smith is still accountable for his own actions. Even if she said that, she might have had a part to play, but he is 100% accountable for his own actions. But he said she didn't do that. She didn't whisper anything in his ear to go hit Chris Rock or take action or do anything like that or protect her honor. So he's putting the accountability 100% back on himself, which is the right thing to do. And he also acknowledged that according to his own principles, his own morals, and his own values, what he did was not okay, and he doesn't feel like there's any excusing his behavior whatsoever. So far, this apology is perfect. This apology is what an apology is supposed to be. He's not blaming anyone else or any other circumstances or any other values or using his mental health as a crutch or anything like that. He's not overly emotional, even though he looks quite depressed to me, in my opinion. So far, so good. So let's continue.
I'm going to say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us. To all my fellow nominees, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me. And it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment. I can still see Questlove's eyes. It happened on Questlove's award, and it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient. What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down? So there's two things. One, disappointing people is my central trauma. I hate when I let people down. So it hurts. It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's image and impression of me. And the work I'm trying to do is I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself, right? I'm human, and I made a mistake, and I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of shit.
Stopping it there. So I saw a lot of reactors who reacted to this have a big problem with him saying, I'm trying to feel remorseful without the shame attached to it. And I think, again, people attach remorse with shame. Like, if you don't feel shame, then how can you feel remorseful what you did? It does not necessarily have to go hand in hand. It really depends on the situation. Like, if you accidentally trip a child, yeah, you can feel remorseful for that, but why would you feel shame? It was an accident. However, when you purposely do something to someone else, yeah, shame should be attached. However, I think what he's saying, and I think if people continue to listen to what he was saying, because a lot of people stopped right there and said, no, you should feel ashamed. If you don't feel ashamed, you didn't learn your lesson. What's wrong with shame? All the stuff, right? I think there's nothing wrong with feeling shame in the moment and when you're going through the process of learning from your mistakes. Okay? Because again, especially if you hurt someone you love, you're close to, and especially if you've gone against your own morals, your own values, your own principles, and your own standards you set for yourself, of course you're going to feel shame in that moment, and shame and going through the process of becoming a better person. But what I think he's saying is he doesn't want to live in shame. He just said that disappointing people was his central trauma. By the way, you can tell he's been in therapy, right? Recognizing his trauma. His central trauma, and that he's trying not to feel like a piece of shit. A lot of people can relate to this fear of disappointing people, because I'm like that. Not necessarily disappointing people, but disappointing my own self. Again, when it comes to my own principles, morals, values, and standards, I am extremely hard on myself, and because I have a history of really deep psychological depression, living in that shame is very dangerous for me. It can trigger me, and it can spiral me back into that really dark place. And so people don't understand, people who go through really deep depression or really deep despair, shame is a very dangerous emotion to live in. It feels like a demon of shame weighing on your shoulder, and it's slowly killing you. People living in that emotion has caused people to take their own life. So you kind of have to give him a break with the word shame, because it's not attached to him feeling remorseful for his actions and feeling like his actions were wrong, and it's explained through his own words in his own throughout this video. He's not blaming anyone else. He has taken 100% accountable. He has recognized his behavior was completely and utterly unacceptable. He said himself that he feels remorseful. So that does not mean that he's never felt shame for his actions. What it means is he's not want to live there and constantly live with this thing over his head, whipping himself and driving himself further into despair. That is, for me, what he was saying. So I think people need to kind of give a break with the whole, like, he should feel ashamed. I think people were triggered by that because now we live in a society where people shouldn't take any accountability for their actions and stuff like that. But that's not where he was coming from, and I think that was further explained from throughout this entire video. Anyway, let's continue.
So I would say to those people, I know it was confusing. I know it was shocking. But I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world. And, you know, if you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
It, guys. So Will Smith is an actor, and he is a good actor, a great actor. So maybe this whole thing is an act, and maybe this apology was a well-written script from his agent, or, you know, people who have that job in like emergency control, like when celebrities fuck up and they, you know, puppeteer a situation to make you look the best as possible throughout that situation. However, I'm going to take this as genuine. That's how I felt. I felt like he was coming from a genuine place. And to be honest, as someone who used to really battle with very, very deep depression and a constant feeling of despair, when I look at him, that's what I see. I see that in his eyes. I see that in his face. He just looks sad, not weak. I've seen a lot of men react to Will Smith right after the slap and keep referring to him as weak, or he looks weak. We have to be careful with this word when it comes to men dealing with mental health issues. It's already a stigma. It's already hard for men to come forward because they feel like they're just going to look weak. He is not weak. When it comes to mental health, the way you deal with it is more direct reflection of your character, because there are people who use their mental health as a crutch and never really take the steps forward to actually fix it, and then they become very self-absorbed, self-centered, and just selfish. But if you're taking the steps to deal with what you're going through, you're not weak. You're better than most people who never take the steps to deal with their trauma and just project that pain onto everyone else around them. He doesn't look weak. He looks sad. He looks like he's in distress. He looks like he's in despair. And even to me, in my opinion, he looks depressed. Speaking from someone who used to really go through it, that's what he looks like to me. And again, he could just be fooling us all, and after the camera rolled, he could have laughed and said these fucking suckers. However, I'm taking it as genuine. Therefore, I really hope he gets the help that he needs, however that is. I've heard people say that, you know, Will Smith was so positive and he was so happy. anyone can come off like that, even if they're incredibly depressed. People forget that Robin Williams was also the image of positivity and always happy and spreading joy. And he ended up ending his life. And so anyone can feel this way. Also, money, power, and fame does not make you happy. And I don't know how many celebrities have to go off themselves to prove that to the world around them, that is not what makes someone happy. Will Smith is the definition of high value in a lot of ways, because to me, a lot of people think high value is just material possessions, money, power, platform, voice, fame, all that stuff. He had all of those things and he still looks incredibly sad. And so really dig deep to figure out what actually brings peace of mind, stability, and joy into your life, because it's not always the money and the things that you can grab onto. Anyway, guys, that's all I want to say about that. Not up to me to forgive Will Smith, but for me, this is one of the best celebrities or influencer apologies I've ever seen. I heard people say that he still looked weak, or this was awkward. It wasn't awkward. And give the guy a fucking break at this point. Let him breathe. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below. And links to all of the alternative platforms I'm on, my socials, including my Twitter, all the ways to support me and all the ways to contact me for business is always in the links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle, or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually the most up to date. And I also have my second channel, Speak Freely, links down below. And you guys have an amazing day.